it is you would like to achieve for yourself and for your business. Maybe it's to be more effective. Maybe it's to be more efficient. Maybe it's to actually achieve those goals that you have set out to achieve. So we are very grateful that you are committing this time to yourself and to us on the last day of the month. So
we've just gone live on YouTube, so just a heads up there, and I'll share the link now.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. So I think the best way to introduce myself to you, and specifically with regards to this topic, is that I've been consumed with the topics of goal setting, focus, achieving purpose, being effective and efficient, and how to achieve extraordinary success, etc., 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 for many, many years now. And it has become a desire within me to master it in my own life and also to help others as well to succeed. So everything you are going to hear this morning is based on my practical experience. I've failed, I've tested it, I've succeeded, I've tried it. And also I need to tell you that I still practice these principles every single day. There's no magic wand here. It takes commitment and to yourself, and it takes dedication and discipline to master your focus. So I needed to put that out there to start off with. So I cannot tell you enough how excited I am here to share these nuggets with you. So I'm going to ask you to take notes. We are going to cover quite a lot of content. And I'm going to ask you as well to select one thing, which I'm going to ask you to give us feedback on. Just mute yourself if you don't mind. We are recording here. I've already started the masterclass as well. So I'm going to ask you to select one nugget from what you are going to hear this morning. And at the end of this masterclass, I'm going to ask you to commit yourself for the next 30 days to achieve and master that nugget you are going to take away from this masterclass. And also at the end of this workshop, we are going to share our own personal learning experiences, share some tips with each other as well. So I'm going to move very fast, and let's have some fun while we are going through this process this morning. So let's have a quick look at the agenda. First, we are going to have a look at what focus is and why it matters. We'll understand that there are 3 types of focuses and how they interconnect with each other. This is very important. I'll also demonstrate to you that there is a direct link between your ability to focus, our productivity, and the outcomes we achieve. All of this before we explore how we shift towards achieving ruthless focus. I will then wrap up and share some tips on overcoming the elephant in this room. I know that's something that many of us struggle with, and how to finally overcome procrastination, and also share some strategies with you to boost your focus. Now, the reason I'm following this process is because I know that if I do not help you understand what the root cause is for your challenges to focus, your procrastination, not achieving your goals or partially achieving your goals, the cycle will only repeat itself. And then you will end up searching for another cause, for another solution on helping you master your focus and overcoming some of the challenges you are experiencing, like procrastination. As I've alluded to on the previous slide, I will be introducing you to a lot of concepts today, and it will be a fast and busy 60 minutes. Craig will share the link to the Master Your Focus Action Guide with you in the Zoom chat. Now, don't go and start reading that now. I'm going to only touch on a few activities in there. But what you can do at the end of the masterclass, and when we publish the recordings of this masterclass, is to take that action guide and work with it hand in hand with a recording by your side, and then complete the activities in that handout. So the full program, in which we explore the content in depth and complete activities to build your ruthless focus, is launching on 8 March. Now, I'm offering you, everybody who is here this morning, the opportunity to pre-register for this program. I'm also giving you the opportunity when you go through the form to give me feedback on content you would like me to cover. And then also I'm going to ask you to select a topic on which you would like me to host a group coaching session. I'm going to take the most votes and schedule a group coaching session for the people with myself who pre-registers for this masterclass. So this poor guy, let me just go to the next slide. This poor guy has been running the whole week, and he's not going anywhere. So let's see if we can help him out. He's been on the treadmill and he's running and he's trying to achieve his goals, but he's going nowhere, slowly. It looks very fast, but I promise you, since I've prepared the slides, he's been there and he's still there. So before we get going, I would like to ask you one of my favorite questions. We are going to launch a poll in a moment. Let me just quickly talk through this, and Craig's launched that poll for you. I would like you to ask yourself this question. Be sincere, be honest with yourself. If you keep doing what you're doing today, or this week, or next month, will you end up where you want to be in 1 year, 5 years, or 10 years' time? Just answer yes or no in the poll, which Craig will launch now. Be honest, it's an anonymous poll, and let's see where that leaves us. If you keep doing what you're doing today, or this week, or next month, where will you end up? Will you end up where you want to be if you don't change anything today? Yes or no? Just the poll would have popped up, and you can just answer yes or no and submit your answer.
We're getting great engagement and response, so that's awesome.
So what does it look like, Craig?
So you've got 78, 80% no, and 22% yes at the moment.
Okay, so, thank you. Yeah,
thank you. And yeah, I mean that's about 42 responses. So not everyone's responded. So if you quickly want to respond, if you haven't yet, feel free. But it's not moving any further at this point. So it's 78% no, which is overwhelming.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you very much for being honest with yourself. And it's very
79% no.
Okay, thank you.
Cool.
Thanks, Craig. So thank you very much for answering that question honestly. If we don't start there, we have a problem, and we can't move forward to help yourself. Pardon for that pun there. Okay, 21% yeses and 79% no's. So I'm going to come back to this in a later stage. Let's move on. Keep in mind, could somebody please remember those numbers for me, please? So now let's get going. Let's understand first what focus is and why it matters. You're going to be exposed to stuff today which might surprise you, but I think it's a good place to start. Your ability to focus is one of the most important assets you have. Why? Focus is a magic tool. It really is a magic tool that can both slow and magnify time. And time, as we all know, is one of the scarcest and most valuable resources you will ever have. When you're in a deep state of focus, you become far more productive and creative than otherwise. Ideas flow, gestures become more precise, and your mind's chattering is reduced significantly. And I know a few people who's here today who really has their minds chattering to them all the time. It's not because they have split personalities. It's just because they are so busy and have so much going on at the same time. It may almost feel as if you are living in slow motion. This is what we can refer to as short-term focus or concentration. On the other hand, when you lose focus, it is very difficult to return your attention to a task. According to a study conducted by the University of California, Irvine, on average, it takes around 23 minutes to return to a task after having been distracted. And I've tested this with myself. Sometimes, depends how tired I am, it even takes me longer to zone in on a task again. You can also think of your focus as a sharp axe that can cut through anything you concentrate on for long enough. When you learn to focus on a specific endeavor for long enough, you will improve your results exponentially. And you might hear that word a few times this morning. So why is focus important? To use the analogy of cutting a tree, ruthless focus is hitting a tree at the same spot over and over again until it falls. We can call this our long-term focus. We are going to come back to these terms I'm throwing out there. So what happens when you lack focus? You become the slave of time. Just reflect a little bit on yourself while I'm going through these points I'm making. Everything seems to go faster and you end up merely reacting to your environment. In short, you have little sense of control, which is due to a lack of short-term focus. Does that sound familiar to you? I'm just quickly having a look. Are there anybody nodding away there, Craig? If it sounds familiar to you, just nod. I'm keeping my eye also on the videos of everybody. So alternatively, your mind is all over the place. And rather than traveling in one clear direction, you're moving left, right, backward, etc., without making any significant forward progress. This is the result of long-term focus. You simply don't know where you're heading. In the end, what you choose to focus your attention on every day will determine your future. When your focus is sharp and directed towards a definite outcome, your time is spent well. As a result, you're able to achieve most of the results you want in all areas of your life. But when your focus is scattered, your ability to produce tangible outcomes is severely limited. And as a result, you struggle to achieve anything significant. Now, for instance, if you focus on changing your career as an example, or starting your own business, or retiring at the age of 45, for those of you who are still younger than 45, and put your attention towards that goal every day, you'll eventually achieve it. Alternatively, if you focus on that goal only once in a while or seek to create multiple side hustles instead, you're likely to fail. Even if you do succeed, it will take you far longer than necessary and potentially with very limiting results. So by now, I hope you understand why your focus is such a valuable asset. If you fail to take control of it, everybody around you, including your family, the media, politicians, marketers, your employees, your customers, and your competitors, and etc., will seek to direct it towards the things they want you to think about or do, not what you want to think about or do. Or you will let your mind wander, you'll lose focus throughout the day. So instead of being proactive, what happens if we don't have focus is we become reactive, which is why so many people jump from one thing to another and say yes to everything and have multiple projects and multiple accountabilities and responsibilities on their hand because of, yes.
Sorry, I know you're talking about me. I have to just quickly switch networks. My network is saying unstable, and as you know, I'm recording. So if you just want to pause for a sec so that we don't lose any of the recording.
No problem.
Yeah, thanks very much. And
thanks, everybody. It's important that... Are you back?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, excellent.
I'm back. We should be good, yeah.
Thanks. And this is how we deal with the challenges that we experience. We just move on. So now let's have a look at the different types of focus in greater depth. So we can divide focus into three types. First is short-term focus. Now, short-term focus is our concentration. The second type of focus is transitional focus. This is how we plan and the routines we have in place. And then third is our long-term focus. This is our vision. And I'm going to replace this word vision with a thing called a massive transformative purpose. But just for now, remember the word purpose. So these three types of focuses are interconnected, and it's important that we understand that. So what is short-term focus? Short-term focus is our ability to focus on the task at hand without being distracted by your thoughts, internal chatter, or sudden ideas which just pop up, or by your environment, noises, people interrupting you, and I can go on and on and on. It is your ability to concentrate. When you concentrate effectively, you enter a state of flow and become far more productive. Your short-term focus can be enhanced through the implementation of adequate routines, proper planning, and consistent practice. Let's look at the second type of focus, which is transitional focus, which consists of scheduling and daily routines. It's the scheduling you do every day, and it's your daily routines every day, which you implement to remain focused in a long-term basis. It allows you to be efficient during your day by moving from one task to the other smoothly and effectively. We do transition from task to task, and transitional focus help us with that smooth transition. Long-term focus is the big picture, which determines what you must focus on every day. It is your massive transformative purpose. It is your purpose. And this is a concept that is new to many of us, and some of us know and are aware of this concept, and we'll explore that a little bit more in a moment. So the clearer and more inspiring you can become with your purpose, the easier it will be to create an effective plan to work from. So let's look at this in summary. Your big picture, your purpose, which is your long-term focus, allows you to plan effectively and to put in place adequate routines, which is the transitional focus, which in turn boosts your concentration, your short-term focus. When these three types of focuses are combined, true productivity happens. We always go about thinking about the other way. Oh, I need to do work. What is it? What's on my plate today? We didn't think, possibly I'm making an assumption here. Some of us might have thought of it the other way around. But in fact, what we should do is think of it from our purpose to our transitional focus in terms of our routines, etc. And then what is it that I need to do? So now that we understand what focus is and understand that there's three types of focuses, I would like to ask you to take a moment and rate your short-term, your transitional, and your long-term focus separately, each of them separately on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is I'm not doing that well at all in that specific focus, and where 10 is I've mastered it. I would like to invite you to share some of your results in the chat. On a scale of 1 to 10, you can type in, as an example, S for short term and give yourself an 11, which I don't think is the case in my case, or transitional, a 5, and L for long term, a 9. Please share in the chat and let's have a look what we see there, Craig. Any feedback coming in? I'm opening the chat.
Not yet. Carissa says S5, T7, L9. Aviva says S4, T3, L9. Ilanda says S8, T8, L5. Lloyd says S3, T4, L9. Kuliswa, S7, T6, L7, Vedette, S6, T6. Okay. Yeah, so it's kind of different for everybody.
What I'm finding interesting is that some of the people have a very high score for their long-term focus and a very low score for their short-term focus. We have a problem here. And I'm going to come back to these scores in a moment, because if I have a high score in my long-term focus, I should have a high score in my transitional and in my short-term focus. Let's understand why. I need to tell you that any score less than 10 in any of the areas of focus suggests that you are not operating at your true productivity, and we need to understand why. Let me go to the next slide. Thank you very much for participating in that little survey. So now that we know what focus is, and before we explore how we then do this shift towards achieving ruthless focus and start looking for solutions to address procrastination, jumping from one goal to another, ineffective goal setting, poor focus, etc., which, by the way, are all the symptoms from not having a clear and inspiring purpose, having poor goals and poor focus. We need to understand that there is a direct link between our ability to focus, our productivity, and the outcomes we achieve and what we want to achieve in our lives and our business. Your ability to focus determines your productivity, which I've alluded to is a symptom of good or poor focus, and whether or not and against what timeline you achieve your goals and ultimately your life and business purpose. So the term massive transformative purpose was coined in the book Exponential Organizations by Salim Ismail et al. I know Craig is going to immediately share the link there as well because he has that somewhere at hand, which describes the new breed of organizations that outperform the 20th century peers by 10x or more. While this is all discussed in a business context, the same exponential attribute can also be applied on your personal life, potentially with very transformative and even disruptive outcomes. We will use the massive transformative purpose, and the acronym I'm going to use is MTP in the place of a vision, and we will understand better why in a moment. So now that we know what focus is, and there are 3 different types of focuses, I'm repeating myself because we need to remember this. And if we do not understand how we measure on each of these types, and we do not master the 3 types of focus, we will not be able to achieve true productivity. Just to remind us again, I'll share the focus types here again: short-term focus, transitional focus, and long-term focus, which is your vision. We also need to understand what true productivity really is and remind ourselves that our productivity is influenced by our ability to focus. We can identify 5 levels of productivity. The first is procrastination. This is the lowest level of productivity or no productivity which takes place. We can't really achieve less than this from a productivity perspective. The second level of productivity is we are working on the wrong things. This is when you work on unproductive tasks that contribute little to your overall vision. The third level of productivity is when we're working on things that don't improve your life. The fourth level of productivity is when we work on the right things. But this is when you work on the task or projects that move you towards your massive transformative purpose, but it's not the ultimate level of productivity you would like to achieve. The ultimate level of productivity you would like to function at and aim for is working on the right things the right way. And this is the difference between productivity level 4 and productivity level 5. So, how do we get to working on the right things in the right way? This happens when your short-term, your transitional, and long-term focus are great. That is, your purpose is exciting, your plan is well designed, and your concentration is excellent. This is the situation you should aim for. It will allow you to achieve most of your goals over the long term. So just quickly, we're not going to take responses on this question. Just reflect for a moment. Ask yourself, how well do you rate yourself now on How well would you rate yourself on these different productivity levels? How much time do you spend at level 1 procrastinating? How much time do you think you spend on working on the things that improve your life? How much time do you actually spend working on the right things the right way? Just a personal reflection there. Just take a moment to reflect. Then I'll move on. We don't need to respond. We're not doing this poll yet. This is just a personal reflection. Okay. Interesting question, hey? Good. So we're building, we're getting somewhere here. Now, identifying the right goals on which you would like to focus is in turn very dependent on you knowing and being very clear on what you want. This is when you work on the right things the right way. The more clarity you have, the more likely you are to reach the desired outcomes in your life. In fact, I contend that a lack of clarity is one of the main reasons people don't achieve their goals and struggle with focus and productivity. Most people only have vague goals, and at best, vague goals promote vague results as a result of not being able to focus. So, the SMART goal system provides us with a framework for creating effective goals that can turn your personal and business MTP, or your purpose, into progress. What does SMART stand for? First, we're going to look at specific. Specific is a well-defined and focused on specific areas of improvement. So I know what I'm focusing on. It's very specifically stated, and we'll look at an example later. And it's only focusing on specific areas that will help me achieve improvement. Then the M stands for measurable. This is progress can be tracked in some way. It's achievable within your abilities and your control. I'm emphasizing it. It's within your abilities and your control, not somebody else's control. It's realistic, so it's aligned with your available resources like time, money, etc. And it's time-based. So results should be achieved on a timeline by a deadline. On a timeline by a deadline. So I love emphasizing the deadline part because we sometimes forget that when we define our goals. Good. So I need to manually go to the next slide every now and again for some reason. So to know what you should focus on every day, you must establish a clear purpose. And now I'm going to start touching on that new term, massive transformative purpose, or MTP for simplicity's sake. You must establish a clear purpose for your life and for your business, and in that order. We'll understand why now. Everyone is or trying to run at full speed. Technology is racing forward and there is no slowing down. To catch up with a breakneck pace of innovation, companies put frenzied efforts into becoming more agile, employing a human-centric approach to design and creating labs to push the boundaries of industry definitions and the human imagination. There is a big premium placed on business creativity, human empathy, and speed. But in the process of speeding up and deploying the latest technologies, we forget why we are doing this in the first place. What we need is a purpose. Any massive transformative effort requires one, and so does every person and business. In any organization, purpose needs to engage all levels of employees and stakeholders. They need a massive transformative purpose to drive a new level of human performance that goes beyond seeking profit. Now, I know that I got some of yours attention. Chasing profit can become a distraction if you don't know and understand why you're doing what you are doing. I can, however, tell you, if you focus on delivering your MTP, profits, remember MTP, your massive transformative purpose, profits will flow with great ease and in abundance to you. An MTP needs to be more than just a large mission statement. If we look at Tesla and Google quickly, for example, they rely on their MTPs to release energy that gives them the power to their organizations to achieve near impossible goals. We like to use words like vision, mission, and purpose frequently and interchangeably, but do we really know what they mean and how they are similar or different? And for the purpose of this masterclass, I need you to understand what the differences are. So I'm just going to spend a little bit of time on helping us understand where we are coming from. A mission statement helps a business or a person set a direction for its behavioral compass. An example would be to make the process of buying a life insurance simple, efficient, and stress-free. Now, this takes the outward focus further, not only emphasizing the importance of customer centricity as an example, but also putting managers and employees in charge of constantly improving customer experience. It centers on the question, what are you really doing for your customers instead of selling the policy? Knowing what is needed is one thing which enables us to mobilize is a more difficult one. So mission is the one thing, knowing in which direction we are going and what it is that we are going to do. Now, a vision statement is a declaration of an organization's objectives and should subscribe what type of business the organization is and isn't, both now and projecting into the future. Its aim is to provide a sense of focus for strategic planning. Vision provides focus for strategic planning, not for the why the reason exists. So it does not serve, as I say, the answer for why, but is instead future and goal orientated. So how does a company's purpose differ from its vision or mission statement? An MTP statement is about finding a bigger reason why a company should exist. It's finding that big reason on your life purpose as well, and I'm going to touch on that. So Steve Jobs' version of purpose for Apple was to make a contribution to the world by making tools for the mind that advance humankind. Now, every time I read that statement, it tells me it's an engaging model and it connects with both the heart and the mind. That's how it differs from a vision and a mission statement. We therefore address our vision and mission statement for our lives and for our business as part of our effective planning. And our MTPs is the heartbeat of our exponential lives and our business, and the foundation which we build everything else on. And that is why I have MTP as the foundation in this triangle.
Lisa?
Yes.
Khalees was asking a question which I think is worth pausing for. So she's saying, for MTP in organizations, should we always ask ourselves what is the purpose for transformation? Cause to me means we are bringing meaning to whatever we're transforming. Context and people can identify with the change or transformation. So do you want to give that a whirl? And I've got some thoughts as well.
Go for it, Craig. Share, please. This is about all of us sharing.
Yeah. So I think, one of if we just take a step back, if we think about vision and mission, or mission and vision in that order, they tend to be more from the company's perspective and therefore more inside out. They tend not to actually attract abundance or attract the community and the purpose, that you're serving in the community that you're serving. And the community could be as big as Africa, as is the case with our democratizing entrepreneurship in Africa. So an MTP is more outside in, and it attracts abundance, it attracts people that share that purpose, that want to contribute to that purpose and want to make a difference and transform. So in terms of, sorry, there's just another comment here that distracted me. In terms of bringing meaning to whatever we're transforming, absolutely yes. I think that's clear. That there's a shared meaning, there's a shared purpose for collaborating and rather and not competing, actually, so we don't compete aggressively around an MTP. We collaborate aggressively, and we try and make a bigger purpose work as a collaborative with the collective. I think I've said enough.
Thank you very much. Xoliswa, MTP is the reason for why the organization exists. It's the big why question that we answer here. We are going to host a MTP masterclass, Craig, on the 12th of March, and I'll touch on that in a moment. But thank you very much for that question. Now, again, I want to remind us, if we don't understand how our focus, our productivity, our goals, and our purpose interlinks with each other, we will struggle to master focus and achieve ruthless focus, and therefore the reason why we exist. So we need to, what does MTP stand for? Those three words we see: massive, transformative, and purpose. Each of them have a specific meaning. So massive is something which is audaciously big and aspirational, where transformative can cause significant transformation to an industry, a community, or the planet. And purpose, there's a clear why behind the work being done, something that unites and inspires action. And the example Craig used in his feedback is that this is what attracts your customers, because they aspire to and they are inspired by your reason for existence. It's a good solution to attracting the right customers as well, and the right employees as well. So every person, team, and organization needs a reason for being, or else we risk not knowing what we're actually doing, let alone why we're doing it. This matters even more when going big. Remember that our purpose does not serve our vision and mission. It helps us to create it and inspires ruthless focus and true productivity. Purpose is essential. It's what gives you a reason to get up in the morning. And it's those same reasons why also the people that work for you, your teams, why they get up in the morning. And people give life to our businesses. After all, that is what is a company without people. So if you have an inspiring purpose and you attract the right people, that will contribute significantly to helping you achieve ruthless focus for your business, but the same goes for your personal life. So, and as I've mentioned earlier, having a clear business and personal MTP allows you to define smart goals and craft an effective plan, which you can break down into smaller tasks that helps you with your focus. As you complete these small tasks every day, you can be confident that you are heading in the right direction. In other words, achieve true productivity, your SMART goals and your MTP in a shorter time period. The bottom line is that it's difficult to improve your focus unless you know where you're going. Sure, you can have an incredible ability to concentrate. I've seen some of you rate yourselves very high on the short-term focus concentration. But if what you focus on doesn't improve your life, why are you doing it in the first place? Keep in mind, what you do every day is either moving you towards your goals or away from it. Craig, can we do the poll again? I know we had a high 79% and 21% yes, but I would like to see what has happened with that yes and no shift. Just quickly, a few seconds. Let's do this poll again. If you keep doing what you're doing today or this week or next month, will you end up where you want to be in 1, 5, or 10 years? Consider everything I've said now. If you want to change your answer, you're welcome to. But let's see if there's any shift that has taken place here. Please do vote and submit.
Awesome. Yeah, the voting is zooming ahead. We've got about 30 responses. So I know there's quite a few of you, more than that of you on here. So please do give us your sense now that you've better understood the need to focus and the way to focus.
How are we looking
need
there?
For a purpose. So we're down to, it looks completely different. So we're looking at 59% no and 41% yes. So
Interesting.
you've already helped people to change.
Okay, that's very interesting. Because if we can understand what influences our ability to focus and achieve productivity, we're making big strides towards working towards helping ourselves here. Let's move forward.
Cool. So I'll end the poll.
Thank you very much, Craig.
And just share it so that it's on the recording.
Okay, 58% no, 42% yes. Okay, there's some shifting starting to happen already. Good. So I'm going back to asking one of my favorite questions again. And remember the question where we're trying to help this poor guy to get out of the treadmill, which we did the poll now. So I don't see there's something happening here on my side. So the reason I ask myself this question, and I do this very often, by the way, and it could become a daily practice for you, is it helps me ensure that I make every day count. It helps me identify the key tasks I must focus on and work on, and it helps me to avoid kidding myself by working on unproductive tasks, because we think if I'm busy, I'm being productive and I'm working towards achieving my goals and my purpose. We want to become purposeful in the tasks we select. And when we start shifting a little bit more in a moment, we will achieve great and significant impact changes in our lives. So when I answer no to any of those questions for too many days, I know something has to change. What about you? If you keep doing what you're doing today or this week, will you end up where you want to be in 5 years? Again, in my full course, we go into greater activities where we unpack these and we actually start formulating a plan to help me achieve a lot of focus. Craig, I'm sure you can start sharing that link for people to pre-register in the meantime while we continue. Okay.
I will do that.
Thank you very much. So with all of that said, and some of you are still here, and that's good, because now we are going to start focusing on shifting to achieve extraordinary and a lot more focus towards achieving our purpose. So we understand that everything we do is interconnected. So our focus impacts our productivity, which impacts whether we achieve our goals. Our capability of focusing is influenced by having a clear purpose. So the first step in achieving a shift is to stop and take stock. Now, this is a very easy acronym to remember: SHIFT. First, stop and take stock. Decades ago, when I used to work in retail and manufacturing, and yes, I'm not 21 anymore, I know it looks like it, but trust me, I'm not. One of my first jobs was in retail and manufacturing, and we conducted regular stock takes, and it was part of a monthly and an annual process. Now, the process of conducting inventory was equally as qualitative as it was quantitative. Speed was much further down the line than accuracy initially in the stock taking process. Yet, as the process wore on, time became more important. After all, we had to open for business the next day again. So any variance that's deemed acceptable was left as such and was either counted as a gain or a loss and impacted the performance of the business in many different ways, mostly in a negative way. We can apply this analogy to our lives and our business as well when it comes to achieving what we set out to achieve. It is important that you take stock regularly of your own work and your life as well. Taking stock of what you have is one of the best ways, not just to have awareness of what's on hand, but what's missing as well. Examples of the inventory you would like to take stock of includes the following. Again, my favorite question. I'm not going to repeat this. Hopefully you'll remember that question by the time we're done here. The next question you would like to take inventory of: do I have an MTP? Then, do I have SMART goals that supports my MTP? Is my plan to achieve my goals and MTP effective? How do I rate different types of focus? What is my productivity levels? We did the exercise earlier. You know what the different productivity levels are. What am I doing well? And what do I need to do better? You can come up with your own ideas of different questions you would like to ask yourself to stop and take stock on how you are progressing and how you are maintaining ruthless focus. I was a bit slow there on the going from one bullet point to the next. The next step we would like to take is harness. So that's the H in shift. And here, the second step is to harness the one thing that we have been given control over. I'm happy to have a detailed conversation with anybody about this, and I'll invite Lloyd as well to that conversation about what I'm going to say now. It's a big topic, this. We have been given control over our mindset, and we can develop a success-focused mindset if we choose to. The Buddha said, the mind is everything. What you think about, you become. It's no question that mindset plays a crucial role in our day-to-day lives. Our mindsets control how we think, the actions that we take, the presumptions that we conclude within the walls of our mind. It is the essential spark to any of the success or failure that we endure. Yet, despite being arguably one of the most important factors in our lives, many of us struggle to master our mindset or even make a valid attempt to try and do so. There's a lot of new science available on this topic on how you can reprogram your mind, etc. Neuroplasticity plays a role and so forth, but we can't go into all of that now. So we allow others to define our lives for us because we don't take control of our mindset, to allow our failures to stop us, and also to not conform to beliefs of the world around us. We have all been influenced and conditioned in one way or another. The best thing that you can do is to change your mindset, and we can do this at any point in time if we commit to it and if we make that decision. That doesn't mean that it's going to be easy though, but once you start to make an effort to master your mindset, life as you know it will get easier and become a lot more enjoyable. I want to share with you 5 of the most powerful mindsets successful people share. I'm going to ask you to play up to the ones you have and work on the ones that you don't. So just quickly, if we go through this, the first mindset of successful people is that they start and finish. You have all you need to achieve your goals. You're driven, you're geared up, and you don't mind doing the work to get them. You're looking forward to it. So when exciting projects and collaborations enter your radar, you say yes to all of them. You think being successful is about having lots of amazing projects going on at the same time. I hate to be the one to tell you this. You're wrong. Truly successful people are very careful about choosing what projects to work on. Their main focus is to follow through and finish what they start. No matter how good the project, no matter how great the idea, you won't see results or massive forward movement in your life and business if you never finish what you start. Remember, going all out for 1 or 2 good projects beats going halfway on 100 great projects. And that's very, very true. Successful people go for growth. In her book, Mindset, Changing the Way You Think to Fulfill Your Potential, Stanford University psychologist Dr. Carol Dweck explains that successful people focus on growth. They don't focus on failure. They don't focus on what they're doing wrong. They don't focus on the resources they don't have available. Their focus is on growth. Even when they experience setbacks. A growth mindset arises from the belief that achieving success is about continuous, consistent improvement. If you focus on growth, you see success as a journey rather than a destination. This means you're always open to learn and improve until you achieve your goals. Then, a very interesting one here. Successful people adopt an abundance mindset. Now, this is a very big topic on its own, and we need to, Craig, do a masterclass on adopting an abundance mindset at some point in time. But very quickly, it refers to a paradigm that there is plenty out there for everybody. Another way of looking at this phenomenon is in terms of a scarcity mentality versus an abundance mindset. Stephen Covey, I don't know who hasn't read his book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People yet. He coined these terms for the first time. Then mindset number 4. And this is something some of us struggle with. And I know this is something I struggled with for a very long time. We develop a positive inner belief. Check your negative beliefs at the door about yourself, about your situation, about what's happening around you in the world. Your beliefs influences your utter behaviors and actions, meaning you need to believe you can succeed before you actually do. Don't start with having failure in mind before you start. Start with having success in mind and believe that you've already achieved that goal even before you start. You'll be amazed how your world opens up. Mindset number 5, accept yourself. Successful people understand who they are. They know their goals and dreams inside out. They know their values, their skills, and their abilities. They are also incredibly clear about their weaknesses. They don't try to be amazing at everything, and they don't try to be someone that they are not. So a couple of weeks ago, we had an amazing masterclass with Lloyd, who is a practicing psychologist and also a coach. And he spoke to us about the importance of having self-awareness to help us refocus, redefine, and re-energize our paths to success. So Lloyd is here. He's a very active member of our community. So you are more than welcome. And I checked with him. I'm not throwing Lloyd under the bus here. You're more than welcome to contact him for a free introductory chat for 20 minutes and ask him any questions that will help you redefine your potential. Craig, if you wouldn't mind just sharing that link in the chat for everybody as well. And
just done that.
Thank you. And Roy, thank you very much for, again, making yourself available to help the community. High achievers, remember this, high achievers never forget that their mindset is what helps them achieve ongoing and continuous success. When you make an effort to shift your mindset, all your other incredible personality traits and skills will come together to propel you forward. The added benefit now, though, is you have a lot more fun getting there if you adopt the mindset that successful people has. So then the third point in shift, I know I'm throwing a lot at you, but it's important that we get through this. The third step in achieving shift is to identify. Do you know exactly what you want? And we've touched on this when we touched on purpose, etc. The more clarity you have, the more likely you are to reach the desired outcomes in your life. In fact, I contend again, and I need to remind you that one of the main reasons we plan poorly, define goals poorly, is that we don't have this clarity. Most people only have vague goals, and at best, vague goals promote vague results. To know what you should focus on every day and plan for success, you must establish that clear purpose, that clear MTP for both your life and your purpose. So I'm going to give a little bit more information about what this MTP is, because we now see why having an inspiring purpose is so important to develop ruthless focus. When you focus on your MTP every day, you are far less likely to jump from one thing to the next. Having a clear MTP forms your foundation, and it allows you to craft smart goals and an effective plan, which you can break down into smaller little tasks. As you complete these tasks, you can be confident that you are heading in the right direction. The bottom line is that it's difficult to improve your focus unless you know where you're going. Sure, you can have an incredible ability again to concentrate, an incredible ability to transition from one task to the next. But if we do not have an inspiring long-term focus, the purpose, the MTP, we're not going to achieve what we would like to achieve. So I mentioned earlier that Craig and myself is having a free masterclass to unpack this MTP for you. So on the 12th of March, we're going to show you how to formulate an MTP for your business. And then we're going to show you what the next logical step is for you as well. Now that I have this purpose, what's next? And we'll introduce something called an EXO sprint to you as well. I know Craig has shared that link also already to registering for that masterclass in the chat, and we're going to share all of these links again. So creating a compelling MTP for your life and your business enhances both short-term and long-term focus, and it allows you to feel more centered and more productive. We're nearly done here. The second part of the identifying in order to achieve success is that we need to know what our whys are. And what I recommend here is while you are in the process of defining your MTPs, go and list many whys and come up with at least 20 reasons you must make your MTP a reality. Select reasons that have both an emotional component and connect them with your deepest values and your aspirations. This will be one of the very first activities I would do after this masterclass, and also register for that event with Craig and myself. Now, planning for success is part of the identify and shift. If you really want success in your business, it's important that you plan for success. And as I've indicated before, we use the SMART goal system to do so. And this is also where your vision and your mission comes into play. We then also break down our goals. I will schedule a session to talk to us about how we plan from moving from an MTP right through to defining minimal viable goals. So the minimal viable goals is a different approach to only having a 60-day focus so that we can adjust our direction and course correct sooner rather than later. I can share more, and all of this is in the activity guide that I've also shared with you. So to achieve this major shift, we need to develop ruthless focus. And this is what you have been waiting for, to help us accomplish more in less time while we feel less overwhelmed. So there's a few steps that we go through to do that, of which the first one is we need to prioritize. We need to prioritize all those tasks that we've defined as a result of coming out from our planning process, and also all the other tasks that people throw in our direction. We need to decide which of these tasks that needs my attention and which not. Those that don't help me towards achieving my goals, I don't do. When I have identified the goals that I would like to move forward on, I then go on to the next step, which is approaching a task the correct way. And there are different steps that we take to approach a task in the correct way. Assess the validity of that task. Then we go on to the first step I missed there is to prioritize the task. Only the tasks that I'm focusing, I prioritize it in an order. I assess each of these tasks in terms of complexity, by when it needs to be done, urgency and importance associated with that. I then clarify for each of those tasks what needs to be done. Step 5 then is, there's step 4, then step 5 is finding out the most effective way to tackle that task. Step 6 is batch similar tasks. There's nothing wrong with batching similar tasks. So if you need to do filing for many different things, the task is called filing, and then you set time aside for that. Then step 7 is very, very valuable, and that is find ways to automate and systemize the different tasks that you need to do. It's wise to automate repetitive tasks, like we are trying to automate a lot of what we do, repetitive tasks, i.e. running weekly masterclasses. We've automated that process now, and we will be sharing that with everybody during the course of next week. And again, we go into all of this in a lot of detail in my course. So just to wrap this up then, the next few steps is that you must learn to make the right domino fall. We all have dozens of goals. We all have many different projects. We need to look at what is it that helps us move forward. And we need to learn to say no to things that doesn't help us move forward, and then only focus on that which helps us to move forward to achieving our goals. And then there's, of course, this thing called the power of less. People often try too many things at once. As a result, they seldom achieve their most important goals. So I'm busy doing something here now. An email comes up, I lose focus. A call comes in, I lose focus, and I focus on that next. Learn to say no to people who want to interfere with your focus. I block times out in my calendar where I say not available. I think that does send the message, hey, Craig, when it's not available, I'm not available. So try and take control.
Sorry, Liesl, you're running a little bit behind time, hey?
No, it's fine. We've got the extra time because we're not doing that long summary. So that's cool. Good. Thanks. Thanks for letting me know. So focus on doing less rather than more, and schedule everything. This sounds time consuming. I schedule everything. I even schedule time in my diary to do our grocery planning, our meal plan for the week. All of that helps me plan more effectively and contribute to my effectiveness and efficiency. A very good tool to use is the Eisenhower matrix. It's also called the urgent important matrix. Go and download a copy. This copy will be made available to you, and then go through these steps and put your tasks into these different blocks where they fit. And then quickly tell me, where do you think we should focus? On the do it, schedule it, delete it, or delegate it quadrant to help you with achieve excellent focus. Anybody who would like to jump in, you can post in the chat if you want. Craig, anybody sharing anything there?
Not yet, but I said schedule it. Mike says you need to do all four.
Oh dear, Mike, I need to spend more time with you.
Carissa says do it.
You would
Rian says schedule it. Rian agrees with me, schedule it. Vedette says delegate.
Okay. We delegate the task that doesn't need my attention. We schedule it when it's not important. I would like to, and obviously that which is not urgent and important, you just delete it. You need to focus on the do it, which those are the tasks that's urgent and important. And there are reasons for that, but we don't have the time to focus on that now. So the step 6 is focus on one big project at a time. I've referred to this a couple of times earlier. Don't take on many, many, many different projects because it's nice and you're busy. Focus and select the projects that will help you forward to achieve your NTP. And then lastly, increasing your energy. We need to learn to manage our energy by getting the basics right, i.e. a good meal plan. So I just did something very weird here, Craig. Just give me a moment, everybody. I don't know what I just successfully did here to confuse myself. Let me just come back. Okay, I'm back in control. Exercise, follow a good diet plan. Also, manage your energy by listening to your body on when you have the most energy during the day versus when you have the least, and do those important tasks when you have the most energy and take a break. We need to take at least a 45-minute break during the day. And Brendan Burchard, one of the best-selling authors on high performance, insists that you should take a 45 to 60-minute break. Okay, so I went through all of that here. Now, if you follow those 7 steps, you will start to achieve ruthless focus. But we also need to finish this major shift with a triumph. It's very important that we celebrate our successes. It serves many great purposes, and those purposes include that it helps us to learn and adapt. I celebrate my successes, but I also celebrate when I learn from failing, because that in its own is a success, and then I adapt. We also develop a success mindset if we start celebrating. It obviously keeps our motivation going. We feel good, and there's happy chemicals which we all know of, which is dopamine. I call them happy chemicals. When we feel good and we celebrate, we create more of these happy chemicals, which then has a reverse effect on our motivation. Okay, so with all of that said, 5 steps. Shift. If you want to achieve significant change in your ability to ruthlessly focus, apply the shift. Stop and take stock. See where you are, and then from there, implement the rest of the shift to help you move forward. I don't know if there are any questions at this point in time, because I would like to get to addressing the very big elephant in the room, which is procrastination. Are there any questions at this point in time? I'm wrapping up in the next 3 minutes.
I'm not seeing any in the chat at this point. Just looking back a little bit if there was anything I might have missed. A couple of people saying excellent, really good, but have to go. So remember, it's all going to be on YouTube, and we share all the collateral. So yeah, nobody's... Nora says procrastination, please. So go for it, Liesl.
Okay, let's go for it. That big elephant. How do we solve it? We're not going to eat this one bite by bite. Okay, we're actually going to get some proper steps, 10 steps that I'm going to share with you on how to overcome this thing called procrastination. But just before I get stuck into this, quickly, where do you think you should start first? I've alluded to many different points already. If you reflect on everything I've said so far, knowing that procrastination is only a symptom of something now, where do you think you should start? Put it in the chat. I'm not going to revisit that. Just keep your eyes on the chat with what everybody's saying there. So the reason why many people look for tips and tricks to become more productive is because they refuse to tackle their most important tasks. And also because sometimes the task that we need to do is something that I don't enjoy doing, etc. And there's no argument about that. But
we've got some people answering your question on where should we start. Nora says fear of failure. Mike says prioritize. Benjamin says be clear on MTP. Viva says start with your MTP. Gwen says take stock. So that's the feedback we got.
Okay, great. And what you are noticing there is that it's very, very personal. Each of us have our own reasons why we procrastinate and where to start. So I think there are also other reasons why we procrastinate, and somebody did touch on it. And the first one, I think, is that we have lack of clarity. That is their purpose, that I think Benjamin mentioned, the MTP. Fear was also mentioned. Lack of motivation. We have lack of motivation if we don't have an inspiring purpose. Therefore, we don't define a clear plan. We cannot define clear goals. We cannot have clear focus. Therefore, we don't know where to start or what to do, and everything piles up and we leave it. Also, lack of routine or discipline. I don't have routines in place. So I wake up one morning at 7, another morning at 5 or 10 the following morning. So there's no clear routine and discipline in my day and how I go about doing my day and how I go about executing my plan. And a wonderful one called lack of accountability. Now, I know Mike said he wants to do all 4 of those quadrants, but since Mike met me, and I know he will confirm that, I've been holding Mike accountable. And an amazing thing happened to Mike. What happened to you, Mike? And you quickly unmute and just tell people. Is Mike still here?
Amy, of course I'm here. course I'm here. I'm actually, if you look at my picture, let me just show you, I'm sitting in my bar at the moment because that's my priority. No, it's actually been quite remarkable working with Liesel over the last couple of months. Is just notice, first of all, my diary is now constantly full, which means that there's both work and income coming in, and I'm just getting stuff done. And it's all has to do with, I think more than anything else, is Liesel holds me accountable for and sets me deadlines. So I always remember my friend saying to me, integrity is doing what you said you would do by when you said you would do it. And we often forget that last part. And that's the part that she ensures.
Okay, so thank you very much for that, Mark. And that is just one of the things that I believe causes procrastination is accountability, over and above the fear, lack of motivation, and not being clear on where you're going to, and so on. So let's quickly do a deep dive. I'm going to spend a couple of minutes on this, on 10 steps that will help you overcome procrastination. But to help us, before we get stuck into this, quickly think of a task that you tend to procrastinate on. Just quickly think of one and keep that in your mind. And as we go through these 10 steps, see how this can help you potentially. So step number 1 is understand what's hidden behind your procrastination. If you don't know what's causing your procrastination, we looked at a couple of reasons, you will not be able to move forward and solve this procrastination problem.
Liesel, interestingly, Koliswa says fear of success, which is very interesting.
Yeah. Oh, Oliswa, I can talk to you about that for a very long time. Yes, a fear of success because of what will happen when I get there, or it could be because I was successful before and then I failed. So there could be a lot of reasons why it leads to a fear of success as well. So we need to uncover whether you procrastinate because of fear, lack of clarity or motivation, insufficient accountability, or poor discipline. Once you've done that, you need to identify your story. Find out all the excuses you tell yourself. So all those excuses about why I'm not going to get up tomorrow morning and take my run. And, I can become very creative on that. I know somebody who's on this call is laughing there in the background. You need to understand clearly what the story is that you are writing so that you can start to rewrite your story. And how do we rewrite your story? By changing the way you talk to yourself about why you don't want to do what you need to do. So you need to place empowering affirmations in your mind instead of your current excuses. Then step 4 is identify all the ways you distract yourself. Become aware of I call it stratagems, the stratagems you rely on to distract yourself and put off your tasks. Then step 5, clarify your why. Clarify that MTP. If you don't like that term, clarify your purpose, why you are doing what you are doing. Then change the meaning you give to your task so that you feel more inspired and motivated. There was somebody else I was speaking to a little while ago, and she doesn't like cooking, but she needs to cook for a family. So I told her to change the way she views the task of cooking to she's enjoying that process, because at the end of that cooking process, she and her family is going to enjoy a meal together, which she has prepared with love for them. Frame those tasks you like doing differently. Start small, set tiny little goals, and to avoid resistance. So if you have this very big, hairy, audacious goal, it's already demotivating. Break that down to what I refer to as minimal viable goals, write down to daily tasks, and then start eating that elephant one piece at a time. Step 7, create daily habits to support you. Remember, this is where the transitional focus comes into play. Implement habits so that you work on your most important task first thing in the morning or during your highest energy part of the day. And then step 8, prepare your environment. Reduce frictions in your environment and make it as easy as possible to take the desired action. Step 9, set small milestones and celebrate those small wins. We looked at the purpose it plays to triumph and celebrate your successes. And then the last step, Just get started. Begin working on your task while giving yourself the permission to give up at any time. Now, that sounds like a paradox in its own. While I'm focusing and working, I'm allocating time slots to that task at hand. And if that time slot runs out, that is my permission to start focusing and transition to the next step. Now, lastly, in that handout I gave you is 17 brilliant strategies to boost your focus. Go and have a look at that guide and use it as a reminder when you find yourself being out of focus. I don't know if there's any comments on the procrastination or any questions, because then I will wrap up. Craig?
I'm not seeing any at the minute. Any questions, anybody? Just a few comments like superhero syndrome from Zelna. I think that was in response to Mike mentioning brinkmanship and saying that we should start Procrastinators Anonymous, which I have to admit I'd have to join. Oh, well. Okay. Awesome.
Good. Well, thank you very much for that. And just then in quick summary.
Cara mentions the Pomodoro timer, which is quite an interesting technique, Liesl. I'm sure you've come across it.
Sure. Well, what you need to go and do is go and research and find what works for you. But I can guarantee you, whatever solution or tool you're going to use, if you are not clear on what that purpose is, and this is part of my summary, having a clear business and personal MTP allows you to find those SMART goals and craft an effective plan, which you can break down into smaller tasks that helps you with your focus. And then deploying those techniques of managing your procrastination, you will achieve true productivity. Remember, there is a direct link between our ability to focus, our productivity. Procrastination is a symptom of productivity, and us moving forward, achieving our goals and the purpose of our lives and our business. That was a lot in a very short time period. So I don't know if anybody has any energy left to ask questions and to contribute to everybody who's still here in terms of what works for you. Can we take just 2 minutes quickly, and then Craig, we can wrap up. I'm going to stop sharing while you get the other slides ready, maybe.
Cool. Yeah, we've got lots of positive feedback. Lovely, enjoyed it. Confirmed my worst nightmares. Khaliswa, Shaman. Ben's asking, when is the developing the MTP session? I think we said the 12th of March, Liesl?
Correct, yes.
Yeah. So we've got a session on the 11th of March as well, but that's a late evening one.
For something else as well, yeah.
For something else, yeah. But the MTP one is on the 12th of March at this regular time. Lots of positive feedback, lots of thank yous and commending the presentation, but no questions as yet.
So then what I would like to do is just make one more statement. Remember that one favorite question I like to ask myself. Keep that in your pocket. If that's too long to remember, energy flows where your focus goes. Energy flows where your focus goes. So if I'm focusing on something that's not helping me to propel forward to achieving my purpose, my energy will go there. And then I'm in trouble. Now, my course is launching on the 8th of March. We unpack all of this in great detail. Please pre-register. We are going to offer to you who are going to register today, pre-register today, that course at $9 less 50%. So you're looking at less than 100 Rand for the full course. If you are here and you register tomorrow and going forward, it will be at $9. You're not paying today, so don't worry about it. It's just a form you are completing, and then we will be in contact with you. Craig, would you like to share what's next, please?
I'm just going to share the pre-registration link again in case anybody missed it earlier. So just pop into the chat quickly. The pre-registration link is back in the chat. So pre-register form to master your focus. It's a bit.ly link. go for it if you would like to register for that. So Liesl, thanks very much. That was absolutely awesome, and lots of positive feedback and lots of positive energy. And I mean, the knowledge nuggets that you've shared today, you know, it's just proof that we can all learn so much from each other. And this is why we keep contributing as many of us as possible to the knowledge nuggets that we're looking to increase the collective intelligence of the community. So I'm going to just share this. Can you see my screen? Are you seeing my screen?
Yes,
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, okay, cool. So next week's workshop is from an international speaker, Fabrice Testa. Fabrice is an author, he's an entrepreneur, he's a startup angel, he's a mentor, and he calls himself a multi-potentialite as well. So Fabrice is an exponential thinker, and he was actually on the EXO sprint certification when Liesl and I did it, so we met him at that point. And what an amazing person. He's an innovator, he's a serial tech entrepreneur, he's a business angel investor, and he's co-founded or participated in the launch of multiple companies that created hundreds of jobs and generated multi-millions in revenue. He partners with bold talents to build breakthrough ventures that have an impact on our daily lives and contribute to creating abundance for everybody. He's a pioneer of the possible. He helps disruptive startups succeed and support corporates in overcoming disruption and leading transformation in their industry. So with nearly 30 years in international experience, he has an extensive know-how of a vast range of business areas. He's knowledgeable in the space industry, in connectivity and digitalization, in AI, robotics, energy, cryptocurrencies, blockchain, and fintech. So Patrice is a bit of a genius, actually. But there's this course, this masterclass there's a superpreneur in all of us. Don't you just absolutely love the notion of being a superpreneur? So join Fabrice Testa as he unveils his superpreneur blueprint and teaches us, you can learn how crazy ideas can lead to breakthrough ventures. So if you join us for the free masterclass next Friday at 10, and here is the bit.ly link to register. So that's next Friday's session from Fabrice. Thanks very much. I'm going to stop sharing that. Liesl, our contact details, etc. Is that where we are?
Yes, that was on the next slide where you were. So
yeah. I used an image. So that I had the notes. So let me just share the next slide. No problem. Okay. So of course you can contact us as usual in the usual EXO Futures address email place, and then of course in terms of all of the masterclasses that are coming up, you can go to our coming soon page. We have the LinkedIn community, and if you're not part of the LinkedIn community, please join us there. The engagement there is kind of wavering, so I would encourage you to jump on there, keep asking questions, keep posing where you would want to see more information and more insights and more knowledge nuggets. Then we have bundles of courses that are based on the past events. There's the link for that. And of course, there's the EXO Futures. Sorry, I'm jumping around. The EXO Futures website. We were live on YouTube, but there's also a YouTube channel where all of the past content is there. And we have a Telegram group as well. So please engage and get involved. And then, of course, Master Your Focus, the actual the next content about Master Your Focus is at this registration link here. Okay. And I think that's it. So all we need to say is, Liesl, excellent, wonderful job. Thank you so much. Thank you for the energy, for the knowledge, for the inspiration. And thank you all for joining us in today's masterclass. I hope it's been valuable for you. And Liesl, anything else you want to add?
Yeah, thanks. Just in conclusion, remember, focus, energy flows where your focus goes. Get clear on what you want to achieve as a purpose in your life and for your business, and then take it from there. Register for that for that course. It's going to be wonderful. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you, Craig, and thank you, Lloyd, for the work you're doing there in the background.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much.
Oh, there's just a question again. Where can people access the recordings, etc.? I'm pasting that link again for us in the Zoom chat. It will be there by close of business on Monday, and you'll find all the assets from all our previous masterclasses there as well. Thanks, Craig.
Excellent. Thanks very much. All the best, guys. Have a wonderful weekend. Cheers. Bye.